Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I am your host, June Archer. You are now inside the winner's circle. My guest today, this is such a great feeling when you get to connect with old friends, talk about old things that you can just merge with the new things that are new blessings. My guest is a DC native. He has been doing music 25 years, but he is still relevant. I can tell you this, when I dug into the archives and I pulled out some of what has been my favorite albums and albums that I've played to get me through some tough times as a young man trying to find his way, I got to tell you, this brother has been doing it for some time and consistent. And I'm so excited to see after 25 years, this man is still making hit records. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Grammy nominated recording artist, singer, songwriter, and just all around great guy, Kenny Lattimore. Kenny Lattimore, welcome to the show,
thank
brother.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Listen, it might have been a long intro, but it is well deserved. It is long overdue. And I just want to share with you that I appreciate everything that you have contributed to R&B music, to keep R&B music alive. When people say, oh, R&B is dead, music is dead. No, it's not. It doesn't have to be out front and in your face played 25 to 30 times a day. It could just be some good music.
Yeah.
I want to ask you I want to start from the top and just say, how have you been throughout this pandemic, recording new music, new baby, and #1 record? How does it feel?
Wow. Through the whole idea of one, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here and for you to give me the platform to even share my story. I had a good experience through the pandemic. And when I say a good experience, I know that, respect to those who lost loved ones. I lost loved ones. It was real. But sometimes when you're going through challenging times, you have to figure out, how do I make something different out of this experience? And I was able to, one, get married the week before the world shut down. And I was able to use the pandemic almost like an extended honeymoon, a way to get to know my new wife at the time.
Yeah.
We were totally shut down in one space for almost a year and a half. And in that time period, I felt like it was the most foundational time period for our marriage. So forever, I'm grateful to that. Now that comes with a whole lot of other challenges, because now my new wife is getting to learn more about who Kenny Lattimore, the artist, is, with the travel, the shows, and the different demands. So that in itself has created the new dynamic. And then having the baby added to that and all, I am just making my adjustments to be the best that we can be, the strongest we can be, but at the same time, be grateful, because we have had so many amazing things happen. And as you mentioned, from the baby to the #1 song, all of that. So the year started out just with a blast, man. It's like the baby came, then all of a sudden the song was #1, and the interviews and the excitement of being back on the road and balancing that is my new challenge.
And I want to talk about challenges. There have been people, you just mentioned what you were able to navigate throughout the pandemic and what arose from it. There have been people, Kenny, I know, that didn't make it relationship wise through the pandemic. Be it, I didn't realize who my spouse was or who I was or what I contributed or what I didn't contribute in this relationship, in this marriage. Has there been anything, if you will allow me to ask, that you learned from? You had a public relationship that we all fell in love with at the time, and that was for that moment. But what did you learn that you brought into this new situation, that those who are watching and listening could get a sense of? You may lose love, and when you find it, these are the things that you take into this new situation that are positives. There may be negatives that you take and turn into positives, but what was one lesson, bro, that you learned that you said, I'm going to do this, or I'm grateful that I went through that because now I can be this in this relationship?
It's interesting because I feel like marriage dating, relationships are really about serving another person. You
Mm,
become a servant, or I do at least. And that's my approach to it. And we become a team. So if we keep the focus of the team as the greatest priority and not us as individuals, sometimes that helps us to focus and make better decisions. Number one. But number two, I learned that Kenny had to be okay with Kenny. I have to bring my most healthy, whole, rested, peaceful, whatever those things are that make me my greatest is what I have to bring to my relationship, and I have to do whatever it takes for me to be in that space. So I'm the type of person that serves all out. I give like every single thing that I have, acts of service in particular. That's one of my gifts. I'm the guy that cleans house, wash dishes, wash clothes, run around, do all the errands. I'm like, I do all kind of things because not because it's required of me, because it's part of my personality and part of the way that I give back love to my family and my friends, actually. So I had to embrace all of those things about me and say, okay, I'm going to embrace those and communicate in a manner where my wife knows this is part of who I am. This is part of what comes with me. This is what you get. We're ever evolving, but there's some consistent things that are about me that I want to make sure that you're okay with as we're even going into this. And you see them as enhancements to you, because a lot of times we think we're enhancing other people's lives and we may not be either. We may, oh, I did this. I
right.
used to watch my parents actually go through this. My mother used to always be like, I don't need much. I wanted to do such and such and such. And my stepdad at the time, who's a phenomenal man, he would bless her with something greater and something different that she wouldn't expect. And she'd love it as well. But it would be like, oh, I didn't need this. I needed that. As long as we're not neglecting the thing that the person really needs to feel love. And I know that my wife is a woman who loves words of affirmation. When I'm able to affirm and confirm how amazing she is, she doesn't like, oh my gosh, she's not needy about it. But there are things that people just desire and that make them feel great. So when she does something amazing, I want her to know, yes, this is woof, yeah, you did that, and you're understand. So I had to learn how to be a servant in a new relationship, because everybody goes through breakups and meet new people and all of that. So I had to find out how can I be the best for this relationship.
Now, how do you talk about evolution, evolution of a man? You had an album, Souls of a Man.
Oh
How
man.
do you evolve as a man and a man of color in these days when we're being pushed and pulled to be different things? We're expected to do
Mhm.
certain things.
Yeah.
We're expected not to do certain things. For the young man who is looking to get in a relationship, a young man who's looking to be a recording artist like yourself, starting a business, what is the best piece of advice that you have come to in terms of being the best version of yourself just for Kenny? Because you did mention that just a while ago. You had to be what you needed to be for Kenny
Yeah.
first. You can't lose self. Because if
Yeah.
you lose self, you can't be what you need to be for your wife,
Yeah.
spouse, or children, etc. What do you say to that young man of color
Yeah.
in
I'm a
2024?
man of faith, and I try to not push anything but an idea that I know is just straight truth. And that is, there's a biblical quote, and it talks about loving your neighbor as yourself. But I think we love as we love, if we love others as we love ourselves, we win, because nobody wants to not love yourself. I think a lot of things start there. What what makes you who you are? So, and being okay with that. And I want to go deeper in that, because one, when those albums came out, when the Kenny Lattimore album came out and From the Soul of Man came out, it was at a time period where for Black men in particular, there were stereotypes.
Yes.
We were just thugs. And I know I'd go places, and of course, the way I'm looking right now, if I walked in, they'd be like, "Oh, are you a rapper?" Which was not a problem in general, but it would be like, "No, I'm a singer." Oh, and it'd be like, why is it like oh, you know, I mean, but I'm also this black man singing, for you, I give a lifetime of stability. I'm never too busy for you. Can we find forgiveness in the throes of our misunderstandings? And a lot of people did not understand me because there was this idea that black men are one dimensional. We're
Hmm.
one, and they're really just sex craved thugs. And the reason why I mention that is because I had to stop and go, the fact that that stereotype may exist and the brother might exist. If I'm different than that, I embrace it. I'm okay being different than everybody else. It was a difficult time because my music did not get promoted like some of my other counterparts' music got promoted. Um, it wasn't the hip thing, although people were touched emotionally by it. And I think the depth of where my music went is what makes it lasting today. But to a younger man, I would say, one, be in touch with who you really are and be okay with who you are, no matter what anybody says. And then if you're in a part of the music industry in particular, or maybe any business, or if you have a dream of anything else, love it. Love it enough where you're not walking away because of somebody else's opinion, or something that's or a challenge. When the challenges are thrown at you, you have to figure out ways to love it. I didn't always love the business of the music.
Hmm.
I had to embrace it, and I had to say, well, this is what comes with it. And if I'm going to deal with the business of music, how do I do this on my terms, and how do I stay in a position where I love it? Because if I stop loving it, I'm going
Yeah.
to go back to human resources, or I'm going to go back to something else that makes me feel whole in my expression. And creatives, we are complex people. We creatives, a lot of us don't want to do anything else but creative, and we find ourselves having to go back to 9 to 5 jobs or things that we may not have wanted to do to survive. But for you creative who is not in front of the camera, because everybody's not going to be in front of the camera,
Right.
everybody can't take being in front of the camera. Some people think they can until the bloggers come and tell you that you ain't nothing and we hate your stuff and blah, blah. And then all of a sudden you emotionally fall apart. That happens. That's real. Fame is no joke because you become so publicly vulnerable for people. You have to be comfortable in who you are and your skin, no matter what people say. When they make up lies, I've heard so many lies about me through the course of my career, but I don't even address them. You know why? Because I know the truth, and I surround myself with people who know who I am,
Mm.
continue to encourage me to be who I am. So it's all of these elements of, because I know I'm getting long-winded on it, but
No,
it's
no, you good, brother. You good. You're good.
so deep, because a lot of people don't understand, and we fall into depression and we fall into self-identity issues because we're trying to be like other people, and we just have to be who we are.
I love it. I want to touch on this piece. We talk about the creative piece, and I just started the June Archer School of Arts where we're teaching kids how to do DJing, graphic design, filmmaking, photography, animation, songwriting.
Yes.
How important is it that we give our young people these platforms, these environments for STEAM, not just STEM? People are so stuck on STEM that they leave that A out for
Yeah.
STEAM. Why is it important now more than ever that we bring our young people into these spaces and places to be creative?
Yeah. We got to recognize that there is a personality, there's a culture that we have of creative people. So we have to be inclusive that we exist. There are creative people who really start to implode if they don't have an outlet.
Mhm.
We've seen those who are even highly academic students thrive because they also took orchestra, or they took other things to balance and complement the educational science systems. So I think that we having that outlet really speaks to the complete person, as opposed to just, oh, all we want you to be is this in this academic way. And it's like,
Right.
no, the creative should complement the academic. And when I go into to and it's a different day in music now. There used to be a time where, because I come from classical music and jazz and singing all kind of genres, which became a big focus of mine. I was like, I want to be able to walk into rooms and do a classical piece in another language or what have you, which takes a certain amount of, that's not science and technology, but it's, well, no, language could be considered that. Language arts could be
Absolutely.
science.
Absolutely.
Math blends over to science. I have to read music, and when I'm reading music, it's all kind of math involved, and that math is happening in my mind when I look at the sheet in real time. It's going very quickly. This is the half note, and this is the whole note, and this I have to, go through this process of thinking using my science and technology, but it's still the creative arts. I think it's so important in our expression. And making sure that we're speaking to the whole child. I think STEAM is everything. It's
Mm.
each component making us the best that we can be and giving our children the best experience that they can have.
You talk about surrounding yourself with people who uplift you. The name of the show was called The Winner Circle. How
Yeah.
have you been able to navigate the waters? You talk about people speaking ill or speaking lies, spewing lies about you. It
Mhm,
takes a lot for you to know who you are. You said it at the top
mhm,
of the show.
mhm,
You're comfortable with who Kenny is. You
mhm.
know who Kenny is. But how important is it to have that village around you, that winner circle around you, so that you can walk in your truth, you can walk in your dopeness, and
Yeah.
be the Kenny Lattimore that we know and love,
Mhm.
that gives us the music that we fall in love with.
Yeah, it's everything, man. It's like, even if you need to be checked, even if
That
you need to
too.
be like, let me be around people who know me so that if maybe I'm getting a little beside myself, or
Right.
it could be anything. I think it's a good balance. But you know what I did? Again, being a man of faith, I used the example. I used to read about Jesus Christ, and there's this moment where Jesus asked his disciples, "Who do men say I am?"
Yep.
And they tell him, "Oh, they saying all kind of stuff about you, brother. They saying you the devil himself." And then he says, "Okay, now who do you say I am?" He wanted to make sure that the people that were around him were in tune with his purpose and understanding who he was, because those are the people that really love you. We can't always reach the masses. When you become a popular artist, and I try to teach this as well. A lot of times we're praying, "Oh, we want to be a pop artist. We want to sell all these records and stuff." And when you become that, there's so many people who have access to you now because of the technology. And even if you don't give them access, there's so many people who will develop ideas about who you are based on your fame. That's kind of when you know you're famous. "Oh, they said this about me. Oh, I'm really famous now," because that's what they're saying.
Right.
And people become fascinated with your life. They become fascinated with. It used to be more mysterious, back in the day when you think of Prince and Michael Jackson and all of that. There was, we didn't know that much about them. We would look at an album cover and stare
Right.
at their picture all day while listening to their music, visualizing and fantasizing about seeing them. And then we'd pay our money to go see them live. And it was just mind blowing. And we didn't know that much about their personal lives. But with the internet and social media and all that now, we can learn so many things about people. But you have to, when there are times of despair or weakness, or when you need to have your vulnerable moments, there's another thing called guarding your heart.
Wow. Yeah.
If you're not guarding your heart, you can fall prey to like anything or anybody in moments of weakness, and you don't want to put yourself in that position. So having your circle, your village as an adult, not
Mhm.
just as a child, but having your village as an adult helps you in terms of your groundedness and finding peace, finding truth, because
Mm.
there's so many things that we go through. You got to have some people or persons to come to for comfort at different stages and levels of your life. A lot of us in the African American community, we don't know. I was talking about this earlier. When you have certain types of success, usually you begin to separate yourself from a pack of experiences. a pack of people who have never had your kind of experience before. A lot of us have never had wealth before.
Mm.
So we go and we win the lotto. You see this a lot. What happens with most of the people who win the lotto? They get the money and they lose it all because
They
they
lose their
don't,
mind.
and they don't know how to navigate wealth. And it's so a lot of things are about the circle of people that you're around. Don't be the smartest person in the room. Be open to learning forever. I'm learning, even in this music thing. I'm learning still. This whole new #1 song and all that is me learning from a great young producer, Dracar Madison Wesley, is teaching me this is the sound of the new adult sound, and this is how
Right.
you produce it, and this is the cadence, and this is the approach and how we're singing now, and what we're relating to. So I have to become a student constantly, but you want to be a student of somebody you trust. You want to be a student of somebody who you really know loves you and cares and is going to give you truth back and allow you to continue to elevate in your life. That does not happen with the masses. The masses tell you what you want to hear because they are trying to figure out how to get into your circle. The masses just go along because they think that that's what you want. But it takes those true friends to keep you grounded, to tell you truth, to encourage you at levels and depths that other people just will never know.
Yeah, and that's why we keep people like Dr. Steve Perry in our circles, right?
Yes,
So,
yes,
and
that's
as we jest about it, it's true. You know,
yeah, yeah.
um,
And when I see
25.
him, I love it because when I see him too, I don't get it to see him as much either. He's the same.
He's the same.
And it makes me go, okay, that's a grounded person again who is around people who will tell him truth as well. I see the same person. I love it.
It's a beautiful thing. 25 years in the game, bro. So much music. New album, Here to Stay. It makes a statement. What can we expect from this album? New single, Take a Dose, dope. But if you were to, I'm gonna date us. I'm gonna date us right now. If you were to, if I asked you, bro, if you could take the needle and drop it on the piece of or the track that you want me to listen to that defines what Here to
Mm,
Stay means, where would you drop that needle? What
mm,
song would I listen to that gives me the opportunity to get an idea of what this project embodies?
mm. On the project itself, I'd have to put in Wow, Lose You,
Mm,
which is and I'm going to say that because I think of two things. I think of in my career, a defining song on my purpose would have to be Days Like This from
amazing record.
Solar Power.
Amazing record. If no one has heard that, or if you forgot about that record, please go back and listen to that record. It will change your life.
Thank you, thank you. A lot of people started listening to that because it was the Michael Jordan theme music from The Last Dance. So if you're looking for that and you can't find it, The Last Dance was the song that he was listening to on the bus when Michael Jordan was going to the NBA Finals. And what's interesting about that is it's the honesty of there's going to be challenges in days like this where I want to let go. But Kenny Lattimore is like, but I won't forget what we had. I won't let go. I'm going to push through that. I always try to put something positive in my music because I understand that the platform is so massive and so huge that I always want to put something out there that I want people to be encouraged by. On this Here to Stay album, the reason why I said Lose You is because from a lyrical standpoint, I think it expresses the human side of, this is what we go through. We go through time periods where our communication may not be. I think the statement of the way that I'm communicating in that song is just different than I have before. The cadence of it and the actual lyrics of that song reflect where I am today. And that idea that I know who I am, it really is it's an expression of understanding who I am. Why would I do anything to lose you? I'm this, I'm that. I am a man who I'm trying to figure out the exact lyrics, right? I'm drawing my blank. I wanted to but the come on, Kenny, what is the lyrics that I want to give you? Let's rewrite the definition of love. It's my mission, you know. I give, but at the same time, it shows the submission
Mm,
of him in his relationship. I use that word in there. That there's a submission in there, but at the same time, you see, I think of me speaking from a standpoint of power. That I want to be submissive. I'm choosing to be submissive, to be the best person that I can be for you, because I don't want to lose you. And maybe that's the whole thing too with here to stay. That's how I haven't lost. Is that um, there is this continuation of being consistent and vulnerable before the people, and saying the same things that I said from the beginning, things that we men don't always say that maybe we should or we don't know how to, like on
yeah.
From the Soul of Man. So music helps us to make those statements. But then in addition, in my evolution and growing up and becoming more mature, the love never goes out of style.
Mm,
The messages really don't
I
go out of
love that.
style. I've had to over the years create sort of a mantra for myself whenever I've gotten off course, that my music legacy is to sing to the hearts of women and the minds of men to encourage you in love.
Mm,
So in doing that, I've had to, at times when I didn't feel like it, say that mantra to the hearts of women, minds of men to encourage them in love. I got to go. If I'm getting on stage and I don't feel like it in the moment because I'm just a human being, I say that mantra and try to stay in purpose. So lose you is like, you're writing purpose. Really, all of the lyrics are that on the album, but I think of that one in particular because it's such a fresh sound too, and it's very different. A lot of times, people are like, "Is that Kenny Lattimore?" Oh, that's him. Yeah, that's what he sounds like now. But the message is really the same.
it's the same. It's the same. So many people are going through things. They're losing loved ones, as we mentioned, through COVID,
Yeah.
breakups, uh, empty nest syndrome may happen. What
Mhm.
have been I don't even want to ask you obstacles and challenges, but I want to ask you through those obstacles and challenges that you've
Mhm.
had, what is the best piece of advice that you could give someone today who's watching or listening who can't see the light at the end of the tunnel?
That there are many seasons in life. Um, there are many seasons, and seasons come and they go. And if you need to be reminded of that, think back to your entire life. There are times when we're like, oh yes, things were wonderful then it wasn't so wonderful, then it was wonderful again, then it was wonderful. It's just like it's winter and then the leaves are gone, yeah, but they're back again. And we just have to figure out how to navigate those seasons. And we have to we have to make a decision about choosing to, one, if you've lost somebody, don't let anybody take away your expression of grief. I tell people, have your moment. Your mother, your father, your friend, whoever are worth the tears. They're worth the emotions because you've had a powerful experience with them. Um, so you've got to allow yourself to go through the process of grieving, but know that again, because of seasons, you'll get onto the other side.
I love it. I love it. Music is a soundtrack to our lives.
Yeah.
For you, what song best represents your journey up to this point? Maybe one that you've written or an artist that embodies your journey up to this point that when you put it on, you get in that zone. If you're feeling down, it picks you up. If you're just driving on the highway and you're like, I'm gonna rock to this and just enjoy everything that God has given me, even though I'm going through something. What is
Mm.
that song, Kenny?
Wow.
Or who is that artist?
Oh, who is that artist? Well, it's probably wow. I think about Donny Hathaway, right? And when I think of songs there's certain songs that make me stop. Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder. Stevie was my favorite for many years, and is a great friend. I can almost put on anything from them, and I kind of know what I'm going to get. If anything comes on from them, it makes me stop in the moment. and I have to take it in. So when I think about where I am in my life right now, so much of me I think still reflects my past. The music that my mom and dad played in the house, you know, um, and the simple messages of love. I don't know that there's one particular song, um, but again, from my catalog, maybe that's where I should have separated. Days Like This is probably from my catalog, my life journey song. And then the other song that I mentioned, "To Lose You," is about, you know, more specifically that right now learning kind of thing. But there's so many artists that Earth, Wind, and Fire, who, you know, the inspirational messages in their songs, the love in their songs. So many artists that I have drawn from through the years that it's really hard to pick one. Do I have to pick one?
Yep. I'm not even gonna do that to you. Uh, Kenny, this has been amazing to spend this time
Thank
with
you.
you, brother. So proud of what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Um, if you're watching and you're listening, a couple of things that I want you to write down and think about, even if you got to go back and watch it again, is love never goes out of style. Figure out who you are and whose you are.
Mhm.
Surround yourself with people who love you, but also keep it 100 with you. And along this journey, there will be bumps and bruises. And Kenny says it. Mama said there'll be days like this,
Yeah.
but you can get through. And once you know who you are, you don't have to worry about any of the outside or static noise that is trying to penetrate what it is that you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. Kenny, the new single, Take a Dose,
Take a dose.
is out. New album, Here to Stay, is out. You are obviously here to
Thank you.
stay. Where can we follow you? Where can we like you? And what's next?
Go to kennylattimore.com. I have an email list where if you sign up, I send you a newsletter letting you know where my shows are and different things that are coming up, whether it's television shows or new recordings. If you're just on Instagram or what have you, it's just at Kenny Lattimore with two T's, because I know my little cousin, we'll talk about that later. Jacob Lattimore is huge now. What's up, Jake? And we love that. But we spell our names with the T thing. That's a whole different story. I think that goes back to slavery and all. But Lattimore.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Kenny Lattimore. I am your host, June Archer. You are inside the winner's circle, and I hope that you got everything that you needed from this episode. Like it, love it, share it. And as I like to end all my shows, never leave the opportunity open to tell somebody that you love them. It could be the last opportunity you have to do so. Brother Kenny, I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. God bless you.
And I
Thank y'all
love
for
you
tuning
back.
in.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you, brother. Take care.